Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you'll find a description of the day's astrology as I have spelled it out here. Here, I'm going to discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another tarot card that, given the context of the day's astrology, may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. This is the last day, the final day of the sun's transit in Libra, the final full day. And it'll transit into Scorpio pretty early tomorrow morning. So it's the last day for the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords is sitting on the side of the page here because it represents the final 10 days or the third decan of the sun's transit in the land of Libra. Libra is an air sign, and swords in tarot are air element symbolism. And air element symbolism is about intellect and rationale. It's about our thoughts, our plans, our words, and very specifically, how we use them. Are we using them for good purposes or for evil purposes, right? If you haven't made the vow to use your powers for good yet, please do it today. So, we come to the Four of Swords, and the Four of Swords is a point of rest, respite, retreat. If you put it in context with the Three of Swords, you may have been through something lately, may have suffered a heartbreak or just a very stressful event, or a very stressful series of events or, year. That's okay, but this is the time to have sort of crawled back into our shells a little bit and give ourselves some time to meditate, some time to reconnect with ourselves, who we are, with our sense of, spirit and connection in the world. And also, just a time to heal and to get some rest, to think about ourselves, to think about what we have learned about ourselves in terms of our limitations, and also to think about what we have learned about ourselves in terms of what we're empowered to do. And another thing that comes up for me, I've been saying, because it does, is that we might be waiting for information. This feels like a waiting for information kind of card, waiting for good news or bad news, perhaps waiting for news about our families, or, maybe we've put it out there that we're seeking to get into a certain school or into a certain place to live. And, so we're waiting for good news. And it's a reminder to keep calm while you do so, right? Hanging out and worrying and fretting over it won't really help. But it's good to just keep it in mind and, to relax and focus on yourself while you're waiting for that information to come in, okay? And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this card over. Oh, we got the Four of Wands, a celebration, friends. Okay, first of all, four fours. We got two fours, swords and wands. So I think that's pretty cool because it's sort of a stability break. Four of Wands, when you think about four of anything, especially like Four of Wands, these look like the legs on a table or a chair. It looks like, stability when it's stood up like that. And, this is actually a structure that has been designed to act as sort of an archway, right? To indicate that we are headed into a celebration. And, whether it's a celebration of partnership or friendship, as we see here, wands are about fire, drive, passion, determination, motivation, mobilization. We want to be it's a very active vibe, okay? But, this is really a moment where we take a break and we just celebrate. It's a celebration, that there's something that we have worked hard on, perhaps with another person, perhaps with a group of people. I'm making a comparison here because we're coming up on the final harvest, Samhain. when we've brought in the full harvest, there's usually a celebration that comes behind that, like, hey, yeah, we did it, let's pour some wine and cook some really good food because we've brought it all in, and celebrate having taken care of this another year. So this card often gives me wedding vibes too, though, so it can just be any sort of celebration where the group gets together and says, yay, you did it, or we did it, right? And on the page, Four of Wands, I mean, I'm looking at Mars up there in Gemini, mostly because, Mars is the ruler of Aries. Mars is very fiery energy. And Mars is in Gemini, so very much in a fiery mode, in a very direct mode, well, wanting to be direct mode, trying to Saturn right now, very interested in the work that we're doing, very much empowered to do the work, perhaps able to get the work done, at a better rate of speed, or, just with more sort of direct in a more direct way, right? We can cut out the BS and we can just get the work done. So that's Mars trying to Saturn. Mars is also trying to Mercury. Well, Mercury is trying to Saturn, so this is a nice grand trine. It's sort of a raft of blessings that we can float on. That says, we're really giving thought. And when we're talking about fiery energy, we're talking about giving forethought. We're talking about sort of anticipation, right? So we're giving thought and anticipation. We're kind of setting our plans in order, perhaps for this celebration, for this winding up of circumstances, or just this opportunity to sort of retreat and take some time out, in a group or on our own, right? This opportunity to retreat. Now, Mars is not really about retreating, though, okay? And really, this is interesting to me because Mars and Gemini, we're going to be dealing with Mars and Gemini for several months, friends. So Mars and Gemini, so forgive me if I keep repeating myself, but it's really, it is a fired up, but it's that dispersing, it's that mutable fire, it's that dispersing fire, that dispersing air that is lighting our fire. So it's kind of fits and starts in the fired up mode, in the Mars direct mode, and also there's this theme of doubles. So you might have to try something a couple of different ways, or you might have to try to do the thing that you're trying to do a couple of different times. You might really have a couple of ideas about how it's going to work out before you head into it. Mars is really direct. Mars really is just like, you sort of take one order, execute one plan, get one trophy, move on to the next order, right? It's just one thing at a time. But Mars and Gemini is not going to be one thing at a time. It's often going to be two things at a time. It's like it's almost like fighting a war on different fronts, right? Or yeah, exactly, like fighting two different foes. If you're thinking about being, in that kind of a relationship with somebody, because Mars is the god of war. But it can also just be like not fighting wars on different fronts, but having different jobs, working at different things, having two different things that you're working at. A lot of us are doing that right now, having two different approaches to doing the things that you're doing. And here we have two different ways of finding rest and respite, and and sort of kicking back, right? So that's beautiful. That's beautiful that Gemini shows up that way, and then is just like redoubled twice in these fours. So, here's an invitation. It says, you can get out with your loved ones, your family, your friends, your community, and celebrate. It's October in the United States, and we love our Oktoberfests, our little fall festivals and fall markets, all sorts of little beer festivals, or even if not beer festivals, just fall events where we have pumpkin carving contest and scarecrows and all that stuff, right? So you can get out and commune with your community, or you can, sort of pull back and, go into retreat and just rest and meditate for yourself at this time. It's not inappropriate, okay, as we are entering the land of Scorpio, to feel a little bit exhausted with all of the summer style celebration, and to just want to, sort of crawl back into our holes and think about life and reassess ourselves. Okay, it would be a pretty smooth switch, actually, from Sun conjunct Venus in Libra would be more Four of Wands, more let's get out and celebrate with our friends, and then Sun conjunct Venus in Scorpio would be probably a lot more like Four of Swords, like, oh, I'm tired, I think I'm just going to, do my thing alone. Right? Okay, so we have choices, but it's a good time to be taking a break if you can. Okay, give yourself a little bit of a minute of respite. Give yourself some meditation and healing time. Give yourself some time to assess your capabilities, your powers, your strengths, as well as your limitations, or give yourself some time with your loved ones, give yourself some time with your family, or just with your community. Get out there and, celebrate responsibly, lovingly, among people who understand your feeling of celebration, because they're in it too. And I believe that's all I have to say about it today. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.